Today I'm in Red River on a cold, snowy February day, and I'm here to talk to Kelly of KWK Events, who does tons of wedding planning. Do you know how much I know about wedding planning? Absolutely nothing, I promise, but that's going to change right now. Hi guys, this is Rob Swan with Rob Swan's Down to Business, and today I'm in Red River with Kelly of KWK Events. Now, KWK Events specializes in wedding planning, and if there's one business that I gotta admit I don't know anything about is wedding planning. I had a wedding once and it was fine, but holy cow, I've been talking to Karen about her business, and I just didn't realize how much is involved in wedding planning and how many people and businesses and everything else are involved. So anyway, we're gonna kind of dig into Karen a little bit and try to figure out how all this works. So Karen, thank you so much for having us over here at your this is your reception hall, I guess.
One of my partners, absolutely.
So I want to talk about you just a little bit. So you told me you came from the ski industry, did marketing, did advertising, and then started doing events for ski areas. Tell me a little about that.
Well, I started in the lodging business very, very young, right out of college. And the one thing I always tell everybody, Rob, is the fact that I never said no to any opportunity. Whenever somebody said, Karen, would you come with us to XYZ and do this job, and here's what we're willing to pay you, absolutely. I just did it. I mean, I didn't know.
You took advantage of every opportunity you could.
I did not know the word no. And I traveled all over the United States doing that and working for mostly lodging companies that happened to be at resorts, ski areas. So. Excellent.
So you started doing like event planning for the ski areas. I think you were telling me that, ski areas at a certain period of time, they've gotten better at this over the years, I noticed, but they only had winter revenue, and they were so trying to get some summer revenue in with these wonderful facilities they had. And you were a big part of helping some of these ski areas get there.
I've always loved the wedding business, and I love the energy that's generated by it. So it was a natural for me to start brainstorming and strategizing on exactly what we could do as ski areas to diversify our businesses.
Gotcha.
And I was always seemed to be in the senior team, so I was able to press that forward. And that helped me to understand how much more I enjoy it, and also to make money for my ski areas that I worked with.
So there's no personalities involved in the wedding business, is there?
None whatsoever.
Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine what you deal with. But you know what? I guess if you have that skill set to do that, it becomes pretty easy for you.
It's fun to do it. It's fun to figure people's personalities out and to engage them in a way that they want to be, the star, even though the bride should always be the star. But
you got a balancing act there, huh?
I mean, if you do your thorough questioning in advance and work through, I'd really like to meet your mom, your dad, come and visit us, take a site inspection, get a great feel for our baker, take your mom and do cake tastings and stuff like that. Then you meet the personalities before the actual function. So
you know what you're dealing with.
That helps tremendously.
I'm in the real estate business, and one thing I tell my brokers is the business of real estate has very little to do with real estate and everything to do with people. So I've found, and you're even more so, it's like if those people are taken care of, everything else starts falling into place.
It's identical. And, as you know, I've had weddings that have happened, come and gone, and now they want to move to Red River or get a second home in Red River. And who do they come to? They come to KWK.
Right.
Because they think that I'm their trusted advisor in Red River.
Okay, so that brings me to another whole segment here. So but I want to segue into that. So you left the ski area business, decided to just go out on your own, and It's like, I can do this myself. And now the ski areas have become partners with you, the people you used to work for, to get the venues. But so they basically become a service provider or a venue provider or a vendor. I want to talk about your vendors, because in previous conversations, I was pretty amazed at what your reach is. I go, oh, once again, I think I know somebody's business and I find out I know nothing. I look at your business, I'm like, okay, the wedding planner, she makes all the arrangements and we just have a wedding. Okay, I want you to tell me how many vendors are out there that you deal with. What is your total pool of vendors that you deal with, whether once or twice a year or all year long?
What I can tell you is, having just finished my 1099s, I had 42 1099s that were over $600.
Wow.
For last year.
So you are providing income for 42 other contractors, not to mention the employees that those contractors may have. So we could easily be talking about 100 to 200 people that are affected.
Easily.
By you alone in your office here in Red River.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And that's what I love about it, Rob. It's like I take in all this money, and when I look at the bottom line, all 90% of it goes right back out.
90% of the income you bring in goes back out to local vendors. And I'm assuming these are all local or regional, huh?
They're pretty regional, Enchanted Circle people. And they make me look good. I don't own anything, Rob. I have, I lease my little space over here, and I bring my clients in, but really, everything that happens is because of my vendors and my partnerships.
Does it make you happy to write big checks to vendors?
Absolutely, because I know how much they appreciate it and they need it, and they will do, unbelievable things to make this better for my business.
Wow. So your business is basically, it's all your knowledge in this network. I've talked to many entrepreneurs about the importance of a network. And this is kind of the epitome of a network. There is nothing beyond your business besides that network. Like most companies will have some equipment, they'll have this, they'll have that, and then they have a network also that fits in. Your business is 100% networking.
Absolutely. On the client side, as well as making it happen.
Wow.
There is not, I don't have any employees, zero employees.
Speaking of, I want to get into that a little bit, a little more of the business of the wedding. Once again, I learned something here as always. So it's structured. So you're the wedding planner, and then you have on-site coordinators. Tell me what their function is after you've got all the planning done.
Okay. They are regionally dispersed, so they either work Taos and Red River and Eagle Nest and Angel Fire. So,
okay.
And I found that couples do an amazing job, when they're both working together. So what they do is they start as servers and bartenders and things like that, and then move up into coordinator positions.
Wow.
And then those they know what they need for their team, and in their own individual areas, like I have people in Angel Fire, couples in Angel Fire, they know people who they can put on their team. I don't know those people.
Your network expands as you get... Wow. So you're picking up a vendor or coordinator, which I would assume you'd call that a vendor, and they are building their network behind that to support them.
That's the 5-year plan.
Have you ever just drawn this on a wall to see what this looks like? This is like this giant family tree that kind of never ends.
Well, and that's the business we're in, is the family tree. If
wow.
You think about it.
And, I have seen many of your pictures. I see you around town doing weddings, and everybody's so happy, and it looks like it works really well. Going back to these coordinators, you said something I thought was interesting, that venues, i.e. hotels, ski areas, big places, require a day of coordinator now for you to lease that space. So tell me why and how that works. I'd never heard that before.
So a lot of times they'll tell the bride, the bride and groom lease the space. KWK does not lease the space.
Okay.
The bride and groom takes over, leases the space, and they tell her in the contract exactly what their expectations are. And in Taos, it has gotten very popular that the venue doesn't want to deal with the actual event.
Okay.
They will set it all up. They will,
just want to
provide
rent
the
the
chairs,
space.
tables, that kind of thing.
Okay.
but they want a coordinator, and it cannot be part of the family.
An outside coordinator.
Yes.
I guess that keeps them out of the business of getting yelled at if something's not right, or making their poor staff run around trying to coordinate a wedding they know nothing about.
Exactly, because
Interesting.
if a bride or her mother does the wedding planning, you may have vendors show up, you may not have vendors show up, because they're only doing one.
Right.
You know, I do 150. So
You do 150 weddings a year?
well, last year I had 168 on the books when
Oh, my
January
God.
1st started.
You are kidding.
No.
If I had-
and it's not just weddings.
If I had to guess, it's like, oh, how much, how much is, once again, I don't know what I'm talking about, which is why I'm here.
I don't hear.
But if I had to guess, I go, oh, she probably does 20, 30 weddings a year. But 160
Yep.
times all these people. I mean, this is a lot of business. So you showed me this book, and I thought this was interesting. This is a book that was prepared by Enchanted Florist Wedding Portfolio. And Enchanted Florist is out of Taos?
Yes.
Is that correct? You do enough business with this florist that they personalized an entire, it's kind of like a coffee table book. I mean, it's beautiful. The photography, the layout, everything. And they did this just for you.
Yes, that was my Christmas present. This is weddings that she and I, Carly Reyes, who owns Enchanted Florist, her and her wonderful family. They've been in the business for years, 30 plus years.
Wow.
And she was raised as a child watching her mom and dad do the floral business. And so she presented me with this book for Christmas, which was an awesome Christmas gift. And we went through every page. Oh, remember that wedding? Remember this wedding? And I was in tears and by the way, I cry at every wedding.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You haven't seen enough weddings that you don't cry?
No, because they're all so personal. I mean, the bride, the groom, her mom, I mean, they're my family.
And these people, you were telling me that they come back constantly. Somebody else in the family's getting married. They bring them up to Red River and they introduce them to you. I mean, so the referrals just never end either, do they? I
Right.
mean, these.
Well, and when they want to buy a house, like I said, they come walking in when they want to come on their anniversary or their ski vacation. And that's why my partners love me. It's like, it's not just the wedding. It's the anniversaries. It's the
you.
family gathering.
It's you.
I'm the advisor.
Right. Well, you don't go to people that you don't like and don't trust.
Right.
So if somebody comes to me or somebody comes to you, I take that really personally. I'm like, this person trusts me and this person, likes me. Otherwise, I would probably never see them again. And you're experiencing the same thing. Okay. This is the Rocky Mountain Bride book. I just want to talk real quick about how big the wedding business is. This is not a cheap publication. This is a really nice magazine. I don't know how often this comes out, but now where does this magazine go and how does this get distributed and what is this for?
Okay. Every bride within 2 years of her planning sessions will start looking at Rocky Mountain Bride because it's the latest, greatest, trend-setting bridal magazine that there is. And it goes to all of us, of course, the planners, all the vendors, that kind of thing. But it also goes to all the brides that go to expos and, anything that they can get names and addresses on. So they'll be looking at this and go, Karen, I want my
They're
dress
picking
to look
pictures
like
out of
this. Or does
the brides ever look in there and go, I want my husband to look like that?
I've never heard them say that.
I think
I have said to them though when I come back.
That's a good looking guy,
time,
and like, hey, maybe you can you get that guy, and it looks better than what I brought.
Maybe the second time.
Okay, make me laugh. I want you to. I want you to tell me something. You had a good job with some corporations, big ski areas, this, that, the other. Why in the world did you leave?
Well, my first thought was I'm going to semi-retire, which is not happening. That's not happening. And what do you love the most, Karen, about your current job? I loved the weddings the most. And so I said, okay, I went home for a couple of weeks after after I, gave notice, and 6 months later he let me go, Right,
okay.
And so it was like,
Didn't want you
okay.
to leave.
It's like, okay, and I went home and I said, I can't sit here. This is ridiculous. This is not going to happen.
You still have all these skills.
And so I said, well, I'm a halfway decent concierge, and I love that business, and I love the wedding business, and I know a lot of people in town.
So you tried to retire and then realized that just wasn't in you.
Right.
So you picked up from there and took off. Because, I get entrepreneurs, some of them just jump in feet first at a young age. Some of them it's a side gig that, that kind of manifests into a full-time gig. You were just like, I can't sit here. You have all this energy and all this creativity still in me. And you're like, I'm going back to work. And look, this is such a success.
And why didn't I do it 30 years ago? I
You
say
know what?
that all the time.
I so wish when you were born or you became an adult, they're like, here's your instruction book.
Isn't that
Follow this and you're going to be fine. But God, that would be so helpful. But I guess trial and error is what gets us to where we're going.
Well, plus I never would have experienced all the things. I mean, that's my life. I love the experiences I've had.
Right.
And when I jumped out of Tahoe, I worked at Lake Tahoe for a while. I had 6,000 square foot meeting space and 60 units.
Wow.
And I was the general manager. And then I jumped and I went to 3,800 units in property management and the
Holy
vice
cow.
president of hospitality in Snowshoe Mountains. So it was like every time I jumped, it was fake it or make it.
Or both.
Do a little bit of both. But.
Okay, I want you to tell me, if somebody wants to be an entrepreneur, you have a lifetime of experience. Give us some advice.
Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Don't ever be afraid. Don't ever think you can't do something. You got to try it. You got to work at it. Find somebody that you admire and start shadowing them. Ask if you can be an intern. Ask if you can help them in any way. Go to work for them and say, what's your exit strategy? I never had great exit strategies. That's why I always just jumped when something came along. Mm-hmm. So the one thing I really want people to know is, if you're buying your own business or, creating your own business, have an exit strategy. Have those people around you that always can take over your business, can take over the parts of your business that you will not want to do or can't do anymore. Mm-hmm. And stay involved. Stay involved with your communities. Always give back. Always help them. Anybody that knocks on your door, you never know that's going to be your biggest client the following year.
That's true. I see that all the time. I mean, I have people that walk into my office. They look like they rode up in the back of a pickup truck from Amarillo, and they walk in and write a check for $500,000 for a house. You never know.
Never know.
And they're just such wonderful people. But that's really good advice, Karen.
Don't let anybody treat you differently than you want to be treated.
There you go. I'm going to leave it at that. I learned a ton.
Good. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh,
really
I did. And
appreciate
I
it.
learned a bunch. And as usual, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I never walk in your office and not see you with a big smile on your face. So I like it when people are happy. Karen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you guys. And we will see you on the next episode.